I love the next tool that I'm going to present you for the deform, and it is the warp. Let me introduce it with adding an object, a box object, and let's change these properties. I'm gonna set the width to 100, 100, and the height, let's say 700, which is 7 meters. Okay, great. And the other thing I want to add, because if not, this warping is not going to work, I wish to add some subdivisions for this object. And instead of using one, let's say I'm going to use 10 subdivisions for every side, for every axis, and accept. If we check the attributes of the object, you can see how the mesh is designed and how the geometry is presented. Now, let's go to the deform and let's use the warp. So you can see immediately that this warp tool allows us to bend the object in different directions. And the bending is based on the geometry that we established for the object. But the options are really limitless. And let me present you why they are so limitless. Well, first, you can bend the object with these elements of degrees, but you can also bend it to the top and saying, yeah, I want to expand the object a bit more to the top. And you can say, hey, maybe I can even close the entire object by moving this until the other extreme. But that's not just the case, because you can also move the corresponding axis in different directions to create a different design for the object. This is very fun, but if you go and move the object in this direction, look how you can create something that in this section is straight, but at the end is just a bit of a curve. I'd love to play with this tool, honestly, and I invite you for you to do it as well. Now, other things you can do is, for example, lock to the bottom. So if you lock to the bottom, this section will be sticking to the bottom, and then you can play with the rest of the tools and make the design that you want to create. Again, it is about testing the tool and discovering what you can do with it. Let me take the object again as we started with them and play with the warp. Okay, now let's say that I want to create some other kind of deformation or other kind of warp. You also have the option of flare squish, which allows you to create a kind of a square that is expanded to the center. And as it was the same with the other cases, you can move this into different coordinates. And as you can see, the effect that you create for the object is totally different. And if you move into the top, you can move the structure and create some kind of in this case, some kind of a cup, or you can go in the other direction and create some kind of an obelisk, depending on what is your intention. And also remember that you can move these elements. I mean, you can rotate the different axes and create even more interesting structures. This for creating, I don't know, some fantastic buildings is something that is really enjoyable. It's a process that is really enjoyable. Let's go to the next one. The next one is the twist. And this twist, what it does is like it bends the object, creating a twisting effect. And you can increase the number of twists. And look at that. The effect is fantastic. Now, always remember that when you want to work with this kind of warp, of this way of deformation of the object, you need to have enough geometry to do it. If you try at the same time to create, let's say, I'm going to put a box here, but instead of these values of subdivision, I have the original, which are 1, 1, and 1, and I try, select it, and I try to deform using the wrap tool, the effect is not going to be the same, depending, for example, let's say the bend is not going to behave the same way that you might expect it to be. So have this consideration. Is important to keep in mind that you need different values of geometry to make the effect do exactly what you want to do.